Hello, my name is Jason Fennell. I have a desk full of pop culture paraphernalia behind me, and I've never been wrong about anything in my entire life. Contrary to all forms of conventional wisdom, I enjoy playing video games. In fact, over the past 7 years, I've played every video game. But much more than playing games, I enjoy talking about them. That's why I decided to create my own video game, so that I would have something new to bring up during first dates, instead of my usual conversation starter ranking all the Papa's Pizzeria games. My game is titled Bratricide. It's like fratricide, except it starts with a B and it's not illegal. Bratricide is available to play on itch.io for a grand total of $0. So you do the math when it comes to bang for your buck, because my calculator keeps spitting out an error message. Even though it's free, there is an option to support the creator and quote-unquote pay what you wish. Finally, said everyone who's ever won the lottery. Something to do with all my money! The link is in the description of this video and there's no download required, so I suppose in theory it would be exceptionally easy for you to go experience it firsthand right now and form a fully educated opinion on the game's quality or lack thereof. But, I mean, you know, don't you want to know my point of view? Well, you're in luck, because you get to hear a full in-depth review of Bratricide from the #1 source of all Bratricide-related information, the creator himself. Lowercase c. I understand some of you might think that there's a conflict of interest with me reviewing my own game, but don't worry, I took the Hippocratic Oath back in sophomore year of high school, so I am morally and legally and medically and journalistically obligated to tell the complete unbiased truth. Which is a real big handicap when I'm playing poker. I see you're 5 and I raise you 250.
Are you bluffing?
Yeah. Now that all doubts about my sincerity are out of the way, it's time to discuss each aspect of the game in vapid, sensationalist detail in order to answer the question that's been dominating the cultural zeitgeist since the turn of this millennium. Is it worth your valuable time to try out Bratricide? Let's find out. Trust me, you're gonna love this.
You said you were gonna take me out to dinner and a show.
Yeah, this is the show. Bratricide takes place in an idyllic suburban backyard where an innocent ant colony is being terrorized by a bratty little kid with a magnifying glass. The main narrative is told throughout the course of 3 levels. However, there is some post-game content, and I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say it's really pushing the boundaries of that E for everyone rating. Although the story might seem simple on paper, the developers managed to inject so much human emotion into characters that lack most hallmarks of the human experience, such as ankles or free will. I mean, I haven't related this much to an ant since that time I saw an ant get booed off the stage at a karaoke bar after absolutely butchering ABBA. Conversely, the only actual human in Bratricide is devoid of any semblance of humanity. Bratric is a phenomenal villain. There's a tangible sense of terror surrounding him that sticks with a player, even outside the game. I saw a little boy with a bowl cut the other day and immediately called the cops. His parents were not very happy with me initially, but as it turns out, this kid had an active warrant 3 states away, so hey, art imitates life, what you gonna do? With a mature comprehension of fiction and philosophy on full display, it's clear that not only did the writer read Finnegan's Wake, he also completely understood it. Bratricide's art style calls to mind the work of the French Impressionists. It doesn't dictate so much as it suggests, like a passive-aggressive mother-in-law. Each sprite is iconic in its cartoonish simplicity, conveying just the right amount of information to the player, even at a distance, which is how I usually prefer to play. With a total mastery of form and balance on full display, it's clear that not only did the artist own a complete set of 64 Crayola crayons as a child, he also organized them by taste. Graphically, Bratricide is on the bleeding edge of technological innovation, making full use of current-gen hardware. It runs at 60 frames per minute and 100 miles per hour with ultra-photorealistic lighting and subsurface gathering for a level of visual fidelity that will remain unprecedented in gaming until scientists figure out how to make a Dance Dance revolution in the 5th dimension. For the uninitiated among you, I know that just sounds like a load of technical jargon, so let me dumb it down to help you better visualize the level of processing power that Bratricide requires. In moments of especially intense gameplay, there can be up to 10 ants on screen at once, which up until recently was thought to be impossible. The previous record for number of ants on screen at once was 4, set by the game Picnic 2 Ant Mania on the Webkinz arcade in 2006. But just because Bratricide is a treat for the eyes doesn't mean that the developers forgot about your other sensory organs. And with music this good, your ears won't be feeling left out. Your tongue might be, but hopefully that'll get fixed by the sequel. Veteran composer Natalie Dolan crafts an original soundtrack that spans the entire emotional spectrum, from joy to grief to chronic heliophobia. No punches were pulled in the making of this sonic smorgasbord. The instrumentation of each song is furnished with all the bells and whistles, including, quite often, bells and whistles. One behind-the-scenes factoid a lot of people don't know is that the tracks were originally supposed to have vocal accompaniment as well, but there was a lot of difficulty with the sound mixing, and about 3/4 of the way through production, it was discovered that all of the lyrics were copied verbatim from the Mamma Mia soundtrack. Friday night and the lights are low! Nonetheless, with an utter domination of the Locrian mode on full display, it's clear that not only did the composer pass AP Music Theory, she's also never been to a Milli Vanilli concert. What can be said about Fratricide's gameplay that hasn't been said already? Nothing. That's why we're moving on. Fratricide fully commits to a simple 4-button control scheme. Using the number keys may seem unintuitive at first, but after a few minutes of gameplay, the player becomes completely immersed. I mean, I haven't felt this much like an ant since that time I got together with 3,000 of my closest friends and stole a bunch of food at a picnic before mating with a queen and promptly keeling over to die. Unfortunately, there's no Wiimote support, so don't even bother trying to use motion controls. You'll just end up looking stupid. Come on! This isn't a part of the review, like it doesn't impact the game's quality, but people often ask me what genre Fratricide fits into, and, you know, I just really don't like labels. I mean, it doesn't really have a set genre, right? It's genre fluid. It defies genre. It defines genres. It's never even heard of genre. It had a baby with genre. Is it a fighting game? Yes. It's fighting the world's preconceived notions about identity. Is it a platformer? No, it is the platform. A platform for those who have been pigeonholed everywhere else. A platform for those who won't let themselves fall prey to their label, who won't let themselves be bound by their genre. I mean, what is Fratricide? How can you give it a genre? It's a little bit of everything. It's the spice of life. It's Icarus from Greek myth trying plastic surgery. It's a Southern Living magazine and a waiting room in purgatory. It's a daddy long-legged spider in a pair of suspenders. It's a hard apple cider on a 4-day bender. It's your comfort zone. It's your soul food. It's a cold scone. It's a weird mood. It's a panini maker when there's paninis to make. It's a plastic glove when there's hands to shake and you're a germaphobe. It's a Russian probe. It's a night of Shakespeare at the renovated Globe. It's an on-rails real-time physics-based falling block procedurally generated beat-em-up hack-and-slash walking simulator with MMORPG characteristics. Is that enough labels for you, huh? If I had to pick one, though, I'd say it's an indie roguelike. Well, if you've stuck around this long, you're either very invested in backyard-themed browser games, or we're on a date and I'm forcing you to watch this video. Pretty cool, huh?
Can we get the check, please?
Regardless, now that you know my detailed thoughts on Fratricide's stratospheric highs and non-existent lows, I'm going to remove any semblance of nuance by rating each facet of the game on a scale of 1 to 10. Graphics, 10 out of 10. Art direction, 10 out of 10. Narrative design, 10 out of 10. Combat, 10 out of 10. Esport potential, 10 out of 10. Profit margin, 100%. SAT, 1530. Career batting average, just under 300. BMI, 12. Credit score, 12. Age, a lady never tells. Music, 10 out of 10. And gameplay, I am gonna have to give a 0 out of 10, but I mean, that's really just nitpicking at this point. It probably doesn't come as a surprise when I say that Fratricide is easily my pick for Game of the Year. It's also the best game of this console generation, and if I'm being honest, there's not even a close second. When it comes to the question of best game of all time, I wouldn't necessarily say that Fratricide takes it, but it is definitely in the conversation alongside, you know, the usual suspects, right? Super Paper Mario, Dragon Quest XI-S, Echoes of an Elusive Age Definitive Edition, Wrecking Crew, Picnic 2, Ant Mania, Near Replicant version 1.2247448713.9... and Calvin Tucker's Redneck Jamboree. But that's a topic for another video. And there's still one question left to be answered. In the case of Fratricide, perhaps the greatest work of interactive fiction ever made at a price point of $0, is it worth your time to try it out? No, dude, just watch some TV. Like, what are you... In reality, that's just because that's how kind of tier list conventions are, but it's more so that these games are in different categories, I'd say. So for example, down here in D tier, I call this category growing pains because they're all post-Cupcake area, right? So I have a very avant-garde sort of approach to this tier list. It's very quantum. Easily the single biggest, most important change in Gameria history. Posteria, very, very different aesthetic, of course, the Venetian inspiration. That's all. What are your thoughts? All right.